Kale muli mutya mwenna abali eyo obwedda abatulindiridde kansubire nti muli bulungi olunaku lugenze lutya abasinga mugenda kuyingira mu lulala naye abatanaluyingira tubaaniriza era tubakulisaayo ku byeyo abavadde yonna gye mutuuse mukuliko eyo kakati tugguse ne program the oba Mystries of the Revolution muno nno mwe tutunuulira ebyo bikusike amaaso g'omuntu owa bulijjo bye gatasobola kulaba ne tubikugirayo era nga wenjogerera Professor Brightish Daniels Mazinga Juko yateredde dda mu studios nga njagala abeere nga ate abatuusaako byonna bye tugenda okubanga tutunuulira olunaku olwaleero n'olw'ensonga eyo beera nga oyita munno ne munno abeere nga ayita munne obagambe nti Kimbugo Live is live. Welcome aboard.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free, for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and we've neighbors all at our country's calling, peace and friendship.
Kale mukuliko eyo nnyo mu luyimba lwa Uganda kakati njagala ate okuleeta omugenyi waffe okumubanjulira ababuuzeeko. Professor tusanyusa okulabako nate olunaku olwaleero mu studio za UNN.
Nange bwentyo nsanyuse nnyo kumpa omukisa okuba mu studio za UNN n'abatuuliriza okuba nga tubatuusaako ebyo byennyini eby'ensonga ekwatako ffenna era nsaba okulamusa eri mwenna n'abatuuliriza era kansuubire nti muli bulungi nabbe nga waliwo embeera egenda obubi mu ggwanga lyaffe naye nga ekikulu kiri nti buli mbeera yonna ejja tewaliiwo ngeri yonna yetubeetaasaamu mbeera soliri nti waliwo ekizi bannansi beediimye abasomesa beediimye nti olwo kati akeediimo bwe kanaggwa ebizibu byayo biwedde. That's actually unacceptable. Ekizibu kya Uganda bino byonna the main factor is your living and its regime. Singa ffenna bino bwe tubituukako ne tulaba nti abeediimye bino byavuddeko amasannyalaze regional hospital ng'etororo yava amasannyalaze abanuliraawo ab'emulago beediimye ate minisita aba internet abagambye bw'ati tabafuddeeko. All these are sub-factors that accumulate and form up the crisis or that Uganda is in. So bino byonna bwe tubiraba ne tubyogera tubeere nga tubuildingirako okulaba nti stand firmly against the regime. We can overhaul our nation. Ku nsonga gye tugenda olwaleero eyo nno nsonga eri mu ambiti yange nti ne bwe mba neebase n'ombuuza ekibuuzo kyonna mu public administration oba mu education, leadership and administration. Oba mba ne basenga, at least maybe I'm snoozing. If knows will give an answer. So ndowooza olwaleero tugenda kubanga tuli mu bintu ebisinga okubeera nga they are embedded us. Thank you.
Kale tweyanze nnyo tweyanzeege Professor. Kakati tugenda mu luyimba lwa state era nga oluyimba olunaku olwaleero tugenda okufuna luvudde mu bannaffe aba Ankole state. Suubira mwenna abava side eyo oluyimba luno olugenda bayisa bulungi. Naffe ffenna abatavaayo tusse ekitiibwa mu luyimba luno olw'abannaffe aba Ankole nation state. Bwe tukomawo tugenda butereevu mu programu yaffe ey'olunaku olwaleero. Welcome aboard once again.
Banyankole twesimire ensi yaitu nkole, ejo amate n'obuki bw'enjuki, kandi twesimbe aho mugabe waitu atwebembere omubi tuli kukora. Ensinkore, 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 ensinkore tushemeza, katweyongera okweshongora. Ensinkore, ensinkore, ensinkore tushemeza. Kandi tituli kwebwa bahwero mugabe, enganzi chihimbana bamashaza, abamagomborora emukana bakungu, kandi hamwe n'abanyankore twena. Ensinkore, 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 ensinkore tushemeza, katweyongera okweshongora. Ensinkore, ensinkore, ensinkore tushemeza. Ojo twananuka ahabwejo migisha, nyamuhange yaturondere okutwara ensi yaitu egikaro mu maisho, kandi n'okujebembera gye. Ensinkore, 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 ensinkore tushemeza, katweyongera okweshongora. Ensinkore, ensinkore, ensinkore tushemeza. Ona tituli kwebwa goma manzaga kare, agayombekire ensi yaitu, gakagitumbura ekagendo mu maisho, kandi n'abagijwereire shagama. Ensinkore, 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 ensinkore tushemeza, katweyongera okweshongora. Ensinkore, ensinkore, ensinkore tushemeza. Twena twesimire ebirungi bya karo, enshozi, empita n'emigera, amatungo, ebibira, ebishara n'amayanja, nyanja kandi narubamba nsomugabe waitu ensinkore 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 tushemeza katweyongera kweshongora ensinkore 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 tushemeza.
Kale tubakulisaayo nnyo mwenna mu kayimba akabadde akalungi bwe katyo abawulira ebigambo ebyo mulina okubanga muwoomeddwa tuba oliawo kutusingako ffe naye nga bw'eri nkola yaffe era olunaku olwaleero tugenda kutandika ne vidiyo nga tevudde walala evudde wamu naffe muna struggle munaffe muna revolution munaffe gwe tulowooza yekka ali mu kukola ekimala naddala mu Uganda kuba bali bannaffe bali mu musimbi bagabana bavuluuja bafuna ababaka mu palamenti kakati bakolerera kufuna kalulu kaabwe akanaabazaayo mu palamenti mu 2026 naye ye ali mu kulafuubana yalwanirira oba yalinga kati asobola okwogera amazima eri gavumenti yabagwira bana ba wangama ku Uganda simulala ye Joseph Kabuleta katulabe press conference ye ebeerayo olunaku lwa balaza leero biki ate byategeezeza jjukira ntwasembayo wiiki ewedde ng'abasibira mu bbwa bano balumbye ofiseze ne bagezaako okuconficatinga ebintu ebimu bye baasangayo naye tubadde leero era tulindirira mu press conference lwabo tunamulaba azze ate ali much stronger gye tugenda okutandikira ate gye tugenda okuva okugenda mu basomesa okwekalakasa kwabwe n'okutemwatemwamu kwabwe kigendererwa ki ekiri emabega wa kino twabagamba abasajja bano bwe bajja beekwekamu education kuba baalaba ng'obugunjufu bwaffe kye kimu ku by'obugagga oba ebyokulwanyisa kye twalina katulabe munaffe Joseph Kiza Kabuleta
owulidde olw'okuba waliwo ebyobugagga kati mayuge namayingo lindako ojja kulya stories naavaayo kati mujja kutegeera nti Kabuleta ebintu byenjogera mbitegeeza linda olabe stories naava emayuge tujja zibaleetera abanafu abatasobola kgenda kubizuula tujja bibaleetera wano lwakuba bya bugagga kati ekizibu kye tulina wano bakuta abantu ne babayita ADF bomu zaali wano zavugako 2 ne basala ne bagenge Kongo bomu ne zikoma owulidde naye nga bomu abaali bakuba bomu baali Kongo oba baakikolawo nga kutondawo situation ebatwale Kongo okubba gold kati kyekino ekintu kye tuliko wano ensonga eriwo eri nti abantu abatufuga babbi ate balina omululu muyitirivu kakati tebaagala yadde kukwata kataka ka muntu k'osanze ebyobugagga n'omuyiriramu kata akatono mugabe kwata akasente kano genda ogula ettaka ewalala tebasobola bajja kugobesaawo mundu bajja kutondawo embeera bw'ogaana ojja kufuuka wa ADF kwegamba ebibiina by'obuyekera ebiri wano mu Uganda waliwo PRA yali wano teina yadde muntu ogwo gwe yali ekubye essasi naye ng'abantu bwe baakwatira ku PRA buli awakanya gavumenti oyo wa PRA because Museveni ebyo byamanyi kusindika abantu mu buyekera ffe tugenda kukola buyekera naye nga we want let me go into English kichenzizaako kye kino nze ngenda mu maaso bulungi kuba abana ab'amawulire bagamba nti ndiira ku nsiko sisobola kuliira ku nsiko Kabuleta siina musango gwe nali nzizizza era wano wendi bajja n'ekyanja kubeerawo n'essaawa ze ngenda okubeerawo nja zibabuulira kuga tewali tosobola kundiisa ku nsiko nga siina musango gwe nali nzizizza kati ate ne bw'oliira ku nsiko gavumenti esobola okuteekako ekintu kyonna omanyi these are thugs so n'olw'ensonga eyo Kabuleta byonna bye yali akola ebyokugamba nti alidde mu nsi y'olukwe okutaasa abantu b'Ekaramoja bwe baali bakuba zibbomu abakyala n'abaana n'okijjayo n'okiteeka mu lujjudde wano tebakyazibakuba olw'okuba Kabuleta yakyogerako. Okwo si kulya mu nsi y'olukwe. Okwogera ku busosoze obubadde mu mawanga gano n'ebintu ebirala byonna abantu bye bazze bakola, okwo si kulya mu nsi yange lukwe. Okuvaayo n'enjogera ku kugemesa abaana abalamu ne bavaayo nga balwadde bayi, okwo si kulya mu nsi yange olukwe. Tewali kintu kyonna kyenkoze kiri treasonous. So n'olw'ensonga eyo baba baagala kunsibako omusango gw'okulya mu nsi yange olukwe, bajje baluddewo. Temulowooza nti twayingira ekintu kino nga tetumanyi gye kigenda kulaga. Ono omusajja musomedde, nina emyaka 50 egy'obukulu, musomedde emyaka gyonna gy'abadde mu bufuzi, yajja mu bufuzi nga nina emyaka ndoza 12 13 awo. So mutegeera, mumanyi bulungi nnyo. So we nayingira politics nenva mu bintu bya saabivaamu, ne we nagaziya ebintu byange eby'obusumba ne nyingira mu politics, nali mmanyi nti bino ebintu byonna bigenda kubeerawo. So tewali kipya, tewali script Museveni kwatambulira yemu, tekyukangako ate tegenda kukyuka nga ine emyaka 8. Teri muntu alina myaka 8 ayiya kipya era akozesa kikadde n'addamu script yemu ADF buyekera treason biki tewali kigenda kukyuka. So kati okujjako nga alina kyagenda okukyusa ate nga tasobola. Kati owulira twogedde ku nsonga y'obwavu, yavaayo juzi n'agamba nti abakulembeze abaaliwo edda be baleese obwavu, past leaders. Nokati omuntu awedde zero ideas, myaka 36 okyanenya bali 36 years oyavuwazizza abantu, speciality yo Museveni yakwavuwaza abantu. Tewali kintu kireeta sente wano nga kigenda zireetera abantu ba bulijjo, si bammemba ba family yo kyotogenda kuvaayo n'olwanyisa, tekiriiyo. So kati oyavuwazizza abantu, obatadde mu buzibu, okoze buli kimu, kati ogenda ogaa ti past leaders. Kati now that shows you've run out of ideas. Ekyo twali tukimanyi, but I didn't think you would be that desperate 36 years later to say that past leaders are the ones who have brought poverty. And you will be remembered, your legacy will be remembered as poverty. And by the kankubudire tebakomyawo ne bano bennyini bajja babuulira, babakubira essimu ne babagamba nti omuntu gwe mukolagana naye terrorist. Our coordinators bano ab'Essebbeyi, bitundu ebirala Lango, n'ebitundu ebirala batukubidde amasimu, n'Ebunyoro, n'Ebusoga, n'Ebunyoro batukubidde amasimu nga bagamba nti omuntu gwe mukolagana naye terrorist. Kati bagezaako ku demobilizinga bye tukola. Naye nga of course ba coordinators baffe bajja kutiisako abamu oba oli awamu badduke, naye nga bakimanyi tewali terrorist wano. Ffe tulwanirira financial justice. Yensonga lwaki tuleeta ensonga zino wano, tulwanirira financial. Nabo ne bano bennyini babakubira amasimu. Waki mukolagana ne terrorist? Recruiting amaje. Kabuleta okurecruiting amaje? Okay, maybe naye nga siga akulwana bino bya Museveni byamanyi. Ebyo bya Museveni, that is his script. I don't follow Museveni's script. I follow my script, and I have always known that Museveni cannot handle an ideological debate. He cannot. He has no ideology. He tells lies after lies after lies. There is nothing he stands for. There is nothing he can promise and do. So he cannot stand an ideological debate. And for us, we started with the purpose of starting an ideological conversation about the issues of this country. And now because he has his script which he plays all over and over again, so now he's trying to charge Kabuleta with treason. And this man here, who was shown here in New Vision, having arrested some ATF in Luwero, was here the previous day. And he's here, the one who is on the far left. He was here the previous day. He was identified by the people who were here and said this man was here. Now, the plan was to get me, put me in a drone, take me to Luwero and unveil me as one of the ADF. And then the treason charges start. Then you are in court, out of court, court martial and what? Kabuleta, ADF, are you kidding me? You do it. It's okay. We know that script. There's nothing new Museveni can do. Nothing. His script is the same. He has used it over and over again. And we know the power of the state. They can plant a gun in my car, in my house, in my office. They can do anything and do anything. And I know they will probably do it at some stage. But the point is that what we have started here, even if they killed me, it would not stop. Because we know we are an ideological army, and we produce things which we make promises to people which are tangible, which Museveni cannot do. Okay? So now, if you are, that's why you can, the problem, the reason he cannot stand an ideological debate is because there is no rigging. You cannot rig an ideological contest. There is no Yabakama, there is nothing. Sit there, tell me your ideas, I tell you let's talk to the people. Tell them your ideas, I tell them mine. There is no Yabakama, there is no rigging, there is no RDCs, there is no what, nothing. It's just the mind. That's why he would not even have a presidential debate in 2021. Because he knew, unlike the previous one, where people were scared of him, Kableta cannot be scared of Museveni. I cannot. I would stand there and tell him, you man, you've made this country poor. Every time I move in these places, I imagine what Uganda would have been like if we did not have that plague. So this is the issue we are facing right now. There is going to be a lot of resistance. That is not a problem. We were expecting it. There is going to be a lot of fake charges and so on. We're expecting it. There will probably be, we know the script. There's nothing new. Plenty, we found him with a gun, whatever, all those things. They've done them before. So, rape, they've accused somebody of rape, and the person whom they raped even had earphones, listening to what she should say. And, you know, they've done all sorts of crazy things. So there is nothing that is going to change, but we are in an ideological struggle. So if Museveni has any ideology, let him come out and let us go in an open contest and see who wins. Okay? Because ideology cannot be rigged. It is there. That's why he cannot get into that debate. Thank you very much. Ororo lwakubisanya abantu bawulire ani alina ideas kati awatirawo ddala because tasobola kugenda mu contest nga temulimu bukumpanya era abaako alina engeri gya he cannot do it. Tasobola kola contest eri fair, tekisoboka, tekibangawo mu bulamu bwe. So bye byange. So ekiddako kye kino tugenda mu maaso katandika butandisi.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is Joseph for you. Faba mumanyi, tumumanyi. Abakuze naye tumumanyi what is capable to do when it comes to speak or to tell the truth to power. Ababuulidde Museveni lwaki tafa ku bano bamulaba abamuvuganya beyeeterawo. Nobody has ideology. Era lumu yayimirira n'ababuuza nti kakati muopozinga ki? Kubanga tebasobola na kuvaayo kwatula nti they are opposing his system. Kubajja babuuza what system do you have? And they can't speak federal. Olw'ensonga bakimanyi nti federal temuli kubba, temuli kunyagulula ggwanga. Era obuyinza budde eri bantu be babukukwasa, singa obujabaata babukujjako. Ago nno ge maanyi ga system eyo ne constitution yaayo. Bakwata obuyinza Abamerika ne babuwa Trump n'abuzanyiramu ne bamuga nti okay late ne babuwa omulala. That is the importance in a federal system of governance. That is the importance in having a constitution ekoleddwa abantu bannansi. Kubanga yebawo obuyinza obwo. System yegaba obuyinza eri abantu. So si bantu nti buli omu asobola okusituka n'agenda n'alwana n'attayo basse n'ajja n'atuulawo n'akwata emmundu mwenna n'azibatunuzaamu n'aga nti agezaako kugamba nti mmwe awedde. Kabuleta is a federalist. It's in his blood. We talked about it since 2009. Who knows nti by now fenna tuliba kyetwogerako. Mukama wa buyinza. Bannayuganda kiri kati eri mmwe okusituka. Kubanga kakati Museveni yafunye opponent. Si muntu individual wabula ideology. Era ndowooza babadde kujjako obucu olunaku olwaleero kyembadde njogerako. Ideology. Muba mumanyi kyemusoosa ekiddako n'ekisembayo. To get power. Njagala omugenyi wange ali mu studios kubanga yamanyi risk omusajja kati ngoyo zateekinze to speak the truth to power. Njagala mumbuulire eyo speech eyo gy'ava okukola oba ddala waliwo kuba baddewo ayinza okutuula n'abyogera ebyo. Muganda wange nkwaniriza nate sumulula. Okay. Nga bwe tukyalinda muganda waffe okukomawo katugezeeko okulaba abali mu technical. Okay. Omugenyi waffe alabika tatufuna ekifaananyi kye kiri ku stand still, kiri stuck, akomyewo. Sebo bw'oba obadde ompulira njagala otandikira awo wenkomye.
Neyanzisebo Prince Paul Chimbugwe. Mpozi
Gyoli nkuwulira bulungi, genda maaso. Tubadde tukuwulira. Mbadde nkubuuza nti we tukomye oba we mbadde nkomye owuliddewo vidiyo girabye ya mwami Kabuleta era kikyogyogerako.
Vidiyo ya mwami Kabuleta nagifunye era ngirabye. Naye nga sinaba kugyogerako, njagala onzikirize n'abawuliriza n'abatulaba nkirize to put on notice of the nation the UN TV point number 6 of this, which was actually have been on how you did a great job to collect every group of Uganda. I've been here for quite a number of times, and even when I received many different productive UNN, I realized that UNN and the Uganda Consultative Council has covered the point in terms of Uganda's growth. I've heard about the Bagwe, I've heard the Lugubara, I've heard the Choli, I've heard the Langno, I've heard the Teso, I've heard the Baganda, that one automatically you would have heard. I've heard Today I had Banyankole, last time I had the Renzuru about the Bachiga. I think you have done a very great job. If it is actually this level that you have covered the whole nation, I mean, it implies that when you talk about federalism, you are talking about something that you have understood well, because the point of it is what covers the most part of notes in textbooks of public administration when they're writing about the characteristics and elements of federalism. The others do not too much note the element of diversity takes almost 10% of the whole program. So I really wanted to put it on notes that you have done a great job on UNN. I mean, the people of UNN have really received the greatness of federalism by sense, taking this point of diversity in context, because there are not many people abachimanyi nti diversity actually forms what is actually called federalism. Other things of constitutionalism, those ones are changing every day. But diversity is in that diversification is natural original in there. The tribes and the groups, the languages and other backgrounds. So I thank you very much for this. Bwe tudda ku bintu bya Kabuleeta, actually ensonga gye nnyinza okusookerako y'ey'okulaga Abanayuganda bonna. You did good to bring this because Abanayuganda mu Uganda tebamanyi na tebayita opposition. Bawaana yaleese obululu, twagendayo omulundi gumu ne tufuna obululu, ne tufuna bamemba 58, simanyi bye bayita opposition. Naye I want to put it on notes. Omukulu Joseph Kabuleeta kyaliko kye bayita opposition. Every opposition or every opposition political party, newebanga bali mu democracy, you look at the wrong part or the part that is not going well in the country and you speak it out. Bannaffe betuwulira nti opposition n'ebyali e Karamoja Kabuleeta yabimanya, ate Kabuleeta tayogerwako wadde wantu wonna, naye yekka yabimanyi nti e Karamoja baali bakuba abantu bomu n'okubattira obwereere, ng'ate opposition ye badde teri so much recognized. Nga bannaffe ba recognizing as some of those things that were recognized as opposition, nga tebamanyi na kifa Karamoja, tebamanyi na kifa kugema, tebamanyi na kibi kiriwo mu miwendo gya bintu, tebalina kye boogera ku kintu kyonna, oba price increment, oba vaccination, n'okutta okwali e Karamoja. I think that one is just a figurative sort of thing that we should be calling it opposition yenna. Talina kutunulira birungi gavumenti ekola, kuba ebyetaaga comment. Ekintu ekyetaaga comment kwe kwogera ku kikyamu ekiri, kubanga oba oyogera kwafunye obuzibu mu ekyo ekikyamu, whereby the opposition is always on the side of the oppressed. Abantu ababa victims of injustice gwe bw'oba olina okubeerako okusinga, si kulaba birungi gavumenti byekoze, ebyo tebikwetaagisa kwogerako because bwe kiba kirungi kiba kirungi, naye gwe olina kutunuulira ebitagenda bulungi mu maaso n'obiteeka mu public, most especially democracies bwe baba nga obyogero, at least government okukyusaamu. Era kati ngaffe mu Uganda bw'obyako ate ozibula abantu amaaso okumanya obubi n'obukyamu obw'ekyo ekipooli ekibakulembera. So njagala okwebaza nga maze okubuulira abantu opposition, njagala okwebaza omukulu Joseph Kabuleeta to part of the nation leader in Uganda. Tali recognized, tamanyiddwa, tayogerwako, but actually he has played the part of the main opposition in Uganda. Actually, what would have been played by Bobby Wine and his NUP, he played in this time by different person who is not even recognized as a main opposition or what. Akati mu bigambo bye picking mu obubbi abantu ababbi nga balinza baletawo embeera yonna zibabuzaabuza embeera yonna ebabuzaabuza ku kino babuzaabuza nebabuzaabuza ku kino ayogedde ku kya bbomu ekya bbomu ekyo nakyogerakoko gye baakuba ku parliament ne ku central police baaliwo ba terrorist baggwanga lyaffe tebaaliyo tewaliyo bajja mu ggwanga lyaffe wabula bennyini ebisabeera ba terrorist ebiseera ebimu ne beeyita bate naye nga baali okufunirako ansi nti bayiye ekiboozi ne kikwatayo nekisekeri n'abakkiri bagende Congo batandika okubbayo gold. Unfortunately nti ebintu ebyo byennyini kola mu Uganda ne bagende kati bagenda kubikola mu Uganda bagende Karaja bagende ne Busoga ebunya awali gold in my Uganda. Be very difficult abantu bonna abanasobola okukirwanyisa bajja kuba mu mbeera ya kabuleeta kubanga ntone mabegaawo yamala okubyogerako nayogera ku kya Karamojja nayogera ku kya mandatory vaccination yali intended to exterminate the lives of the young children bamuteekako gwa treason. This is where the is going to become very bad. Bwe babanga omuntu bw'anajja ayogere ku kitamu ajja kubeera treasonous. Ekyo kintu kizinyo interpret era ndowooza twali badde ffenna twesiba enkoba. We rather be called terrorists, we rather be treasonous, all of us, but let us stand on the rightful side for our own sake. Otherwise, if we keep quiet, we have some things that we always called opposition. So, kino nja okwebaza omukulu Jobuleeta has taken a rightful stand. Okuvaayo n'ayimirirawo ku lw'Abannayuganda ng'ate ye talina nnyo kerero oyo wa Selefi bamwogerako oyinza kumusangako ku mawulire oyinza kumusangako ku social media not until avuddeyo n'ayogerera ludda lw'abo abanyigirizibwa. That one is a spirit of a freedom fighter. Ate alayidde agambye nti oba baagala okumuteekako treason muteeke naye ajja kulwanagana nabyo nga tajja kumulamwa talina kyataddemu nti tebaaga intellectual reasoning bo bagwira bugwizi ne bajja nti go omusango baleeta mu ku reasoning badduka n'okudduka agambye nti Museveni tasobola actually Museveni tasobola ku reasoning is one of the people who cannot reason at all. Era bwe yalabanga eggwanga alikutte abantu abatadde wansi mu bigere bye tayagala kyonna ayinza okuteekawo ebisango ayinza okuba bino ayinza okuleeta mundu mugende mu batise. That is his way of doing. Talina any reasoning. Era kyova olaba nti ku topic eri gye tugendako eya abasomesa egenda tujja kunyumirwa nnyo eyo. Museveni talina reasoning ate ndowooza ne mu NRM temuliimu real people. Ndowooza we cannot call it a ruling party. We may easily call it a national ravage movement. There is nothing inside that can indicate nti waliyo kye bayita ruling party nti wavaayo omusajja nga Joseph Kabulagera ku kintu bwe kiti balina okutuula ne bagamba nti omusajja oli yayogedde wa opposition atupikira sense ezeemu wano tulabe nti tebatwogerako basindika bamundu basindika ba semwayi basindika ba iso which is kijja obuzibu obusingawo nti kati natwesisiwadde era nsaba banda bonna besisiwale munyweze skin nti oba baze kubakwata kutisha baze kukola ki nyweze skin ebyo bibeera every struggle. Thank you.
Webale nnyo webalire ddala. Munaffe British kyabadde agezaako okutunyonnyola ku opposition. Opposition erina kubeeranga mira, erina kuba mira ya gavumenti. Kati nga ggwe bw'ogula mira n'ogissa ewakaawo, mira eba tegenda kukulaga birungi bikuliko, tugigula kutulaga bibi bituliko. Nti bw'otunula mu ndabirwamu bw'oti ne wejjamu akajonja akakubadde mu liiso, ne wejjako akantu akakubadde mu birevu, n'omulaba nti enviiri tewazisaniridde n'osanirira. Kati eyo mira ya waka. Mira ebeera ku mmotoka tugiyite side mira, era ebeekulaga akabi akayinza okuba nga kava eno emabegawo. Bw'ogenda okuweta okuba indikeeta n'otunulayo olabe, bwe waba ayajja n'olinda n'akuyitako then n'olyoka oweta. Kitegeeza nti opposition is the mirror of the government. Kakati
Yeah.
twesanze nga mira eyabamu oba mira ezimu kuba zeeyawulamu zo ziraga ndali. Mumanyi endabirwamu edda ezaalaganga endali oba neekulagamu nga muli babiri oba neekulaga omutwe nga gusongodde ng'ogwa Museveni bwe guti. Kakati mira zino zo tezikola mulimo gwazo. Kati tukizudde nti Kabuleita is the only mirror to the dictatorship government, oba to the occupiers of Uganda. So, ffe twabagamba buli akola ekirungi tumusiima. Speak the truth to the government. Nze nayimirira wano ne mbagamba Besigye oyo lwe baasooka omukwata ne ŋŋamba Besigye, kiki ekikutwala mu politics wa street? Okukwasa abantu, okusibya abantu, okukyankalanya emirimu gy'abantu. Kabuleeta omulabi agenze ku street. Tuula ewuwo, kola press conference oba genda wali ku Kagere ewuwo, kola press conference nga Kabuleeta akolera press conferences eri Bugoloobi. Naye wetwogerera it's all over social media. Ate buli kyayogera kimakinga sense, ate buli kyayogera kigenda mu mitima gy'abantu era ne bamanya ekyokukola. Ku lunaku luli ojja balaba nga bavuddeyo. Naye bano buli lwe kibaawo ekizimba nti tuzimba abantu basooke bategeere tusituke oba basituke nga bakikola bakimalemu amaanyi. Kakati ate abantu banaasituka batya nga already Besigye abaddewo ng'ebyo biggweera. Bannabyabufuzi temusobola kukola kino mwekka. Besigye wadde oli w'amaanyi ssebo, oli kano, but you can't make it alone. You need to involve people. Tuula obuulire abantu Besigye lwaki ebbeeyi y'ebintu eyo eri waggulu na kiki ekigireese, naani agiviiriddeko. Naye ebyo temwagala kubyogera kubanga you are part of the problem. Muli part. Kati mulaba bwe mutaganjula ne mutazaama, abantu bajaga nti ate ekizimbe kirisi kikyo ate petrol station yo yetunda meka bwe gaba amafuta galinnye bannange bannayuganda naye kambabuulire kiri eri bantu UNN yajja tugenda ku vunula buli funfugu teri lye tugenda kulekanga lyevunise mutekewo amaaso aga kijja kuba eri bantu kusalawo okutwala abantu mu butamanya ku street bakwatibwe bakubibwe nga tebamanyi na kibakubya bannange ebintu ebyo bikadde tusooke tusomese masses tuteringe truth to the dictator nga bwe muyita ffe tumuyita okipaya wano singa kati ku ssaawa eno mwenna mulugera ekintu kimu nga mukola press release emu Kabuleta nga bwayogedde Besigye n'ayogera Bobi Wine n'ayogera Mugisha Muntu n'ayogera Asumani basalirwa n'ayogera Mawo n'ayogera kye kimu kambabuulira abantu bajja kusituka abantu bajja kusituka Besigye bw'oba osazeewo genda ku ground tetugaana genda ekigezi Kabuleta genda e Bunyoro Mawo genda Acholi basalirwa genda e Busoga Patrick Oboy genda Teso Museveni agenda kuba mwangu wa kuzingako naye nga mukyalimu ebyamasappa ebyo no but togenda kigezi kati sooka osomesa ab'ekigezi wogambira okuvaayo ogende ku street ng'omaze okunetiwakinga olero oli sure nti buli muntu agenda kuvaayo naye ng'ogende ku street kati abantu bakole batya kale nsaba tugende ku nsonga eyatuleese olunaku olwaleero twaze kutunuulira amasomero mpozi n'ekirala bwana nga sunagenda ku masomero bwana British twalabye era Kabuleta akyogeddeko nga baparedinga mbu abayeekera naye bannanga basajja bano mbu baakute enkambi y'abayeekera mu kibuga wakati mu tawuni y'e Luweero Kabuleta akugambye nti omu omusajja ku be baakutte Wanidi era yalabibwako mu last press conference kati nga babadde baagala kusetinga Kabuleta ku olwo lwe baagenda omuyoola era lwe baakwata lwe baalaga abantu ab'e Luweero baali baagala bamuyoole bamutwale Luweero bamuparedinge n'abayeekera olwo bamuteekeko ejja treason ensonga eno ogyogerako ki Museveni with his old tricks takyusa bantu balemeddwa bulemwa ku mutegeero oba bamulwanyisa banne
neyanziza so Prince Chimpwe ensonga eyo nno tebagitunuulidde omuzannyo bali mu kuseka busesi ku social media ndimu bingi ekisookerwako nti Museveni akozesezza nnyo bayeekera ne ADF munyine yagito tukyogera ebbanga okuva mu 2017 nga tubuulira Uganda naye ng'oyinza n'okusisinkana Munnayuganda naga ekimumuwaayiriza mwogereko ekirala but in 2019 if I'm not mistaken omukulu Jamiru gwe baakwata ne batemera ekyo nekyokumukwata naye omuntu ayinza lwaki amukwata n'amuteeka mu kkomera kati ate bw'omala okugamba abantu nti limuyeekera n'omuteekako bali banno ne bamukukwatirako ne bagamba nti wuuno wano oba bagamba nti mumuleke obotole ekyama era olina kusigala nga conforming with what you put across. Ekyo bwe kiri. Kati bwe yajja mu kooti, Uganda Road Court, Jamiru Mukulu mwennyini n'agamba omulamuzi nti, if you call us rebels, why does the government give us logistics and services? Teba mu kooti okukulu ayinza akoye ebyokubeera mu Katemba, yagendayo mu Katemba ng'era bamutaddeyo ng'akyali mu myaka mirungi, n'agendayo n'akkiriza okukolera mu ebintu ebyo, ne ba recruiting abasiraamu, abaana abato. Naye Museveni era alisa nti bw'aba ayagala kutta Baganda erako n'abakozesa ng'era bimwalabe ebya 2021 mission. Bw'aba ayagala kukwata abasiraamu era abeerako n'omusiraamu gw'ateeka mu nkola. Era baakozesa abasiraamu ne ba recruiting abaana abo bonna mu kibuga, nga buli ayaganyisa Museveni ayagala okubamalawo abatayagala gavumenti nga bali mu busiraamu, ne babatwala e Buseruka nga bateeka enti gye bagenda okuba training, ate nga yataddeyo amagye era agagenda okubatta abaana abo bwe batyo. Batta bangi nnyo, abalala ne babakwata ne bateekereza abamu bamaze akabigerekera. Nakyo ekintu kyennyini ne kikula nti Jamiru Mukulu bwe yakikoowa, ate obwana bwe yalekayo alabika tebumanyi kyama kiri, bwo bumanyi kituufu, ng'era abantu bwe bali mu NUP nga tebamanyi byama bya Bobi Wine, n'abatono nnyo ababitegeera, ndowooza na advantage eyo. Kati buli obwana ne busigalayo, ndowooza bakuze kati. Ebyo ekintu kiruddewo nnyo. It was from 1997 something 96 97. Kati abaana bali Jamiru Mukulu bw'avaayo ne beeronzeemu ate abakulembeze, naye bayinza okuba tebamanyi trick ya Museveni gye yakozesa okutondawo ekintu ekyo, blind over that, baba nga bo beeyitira ddala nti batuufu bayeekera. Ekyo it's probably like that. Kati ku nsonga y'okuti baakutte oba baazudde ekyoyinga Museveni alina ne drama gw'oyinza okubeera n'oseka, naye nga bintu ebirya enkambi y'abagundi bali ne bajja ne bagiteeka mu kibuga wakati, nga bulijjo tebaddeewo seewa okugiteekawo. Ekyokubiri, ennanga bwe baamala okukuba bobbomu bwebaawo Central Police chair, yagambye nti abantu abadde batusumbuwa wano, seerozi zaabwe zonna twaziguddemu, ne badduka ne bagenda e DRC, era kati across border. Teyayogera iggwanga limu abagenzi. Wayitawo wiiki emu Museveni n'alangirira nti tulina kera aba ADF be twagala okugenda okulumba DRC. When you follow the story kati ate bwe batuuka e DRC, wayitawo myezi mitono ne Kagame naye ayingidde, ne kibeera nti eby'Abanyamulenge ebya 1998 IDF tiyo, kati saawa eno eri DRC Tshisekedi yabeeyambulidde, kati ate babuze e Kampala balabe lulira closure eyozinga abapolitician abafu bajja kukozesa bakibalama bakozesa baani closing babeera n'obukodyo closure ya Jusa. Kati Jusa bakkiriza nti omusajja yabagobyeyo kubanga nabo batandise okwekengera Tshisekedi agenda kubagobayo. Agreement Parliament DRC, buli agreement ya Uganda gyebadde erina ne DRC suspending last week, zonna regional security no more. Yes, maybe agreement last year. No, there is no any agreement that is standing. All of them have been suspended. But on the bachira nti ate okuvayo nga bagambye yeewo akalala mpozi nti ate byefu baba bali eno Kampala amagye tugakomyewo. I mean buli kimu kola nga balina ngeri gye bakipulaninga mu mmwe ne mubeeraawo ne muyiika buyiisi ne tubeeraawo nga tuyiikayiika naye nga kiyinza okuba nti baagala okuteekawo nti ate ADF kati Uganda tusooke tugende tujumbe Uganda bafune engeri y'ekukinga ebya operation Jusa.
Kati ffe abaakayiwayo ssente z'enguudo awo tuba tuweddeyo naye bane Uganda eyina ennaku.
And kati ssente zo ze mwayiwayo it was not in a good faith. Oluguudo mwalukola kutwamba ebinaajjayo gold naye olw'okuba nti kiraga nti mubayambyeko kilomita 2.5 naye nga on which I mean how on which interest gwosobola okugenda okukola ekkubo Kongo. I mean ekyo tekirina bwe tuyinza kukimalirako na budde baakole ngalina okubanga banguwa mangu. Jjukira nti ebiseera ebisooka mu 1998 obubbi baabireeteranga mu helicopter omwafiira jet mwebaze naye kati bwe balabye nti ebimotoka ebibadde bigenda bilwawo ate nga oba omaze okubba olina okuvuga speed oleme kulwawo atalidde wano ne basalawo bakole ekkubo era baalikola areas mwe babba gold cobalt ne diamond nembaawo bwe baateeka ekkubo so yali mu interest zaabwe era zaabwe so fe Abannayuganda sente zaffe zo zijja kugenda mu ebyo naye nga era twali tetufunamu nti Abannayuganda tusasula kuba twafunyemu kino. There is nothing that we gain that we don't have any interest in that. Fe tuli wasula mabanja ge era waliyo ne billion $1 era ze babasalira nga babbye mu 1998 babba ebintu bingi nnyo ne babasalira omusolo bakola n'obuvuyo eyo International Court of Justice ne basanga nga babba bakola ebyambyo n'ebyango ne bagamba yusasule $10 billion era ffe tujja okusasula n'omwana omuto nga tusasula Museveni ssente ze yateeka mu nsawo ze ne bakahindo tafiire ne banne so ebyo Congo tetulinaayo ntujja composite enyinza okugamba Abannayuganda over this nti twali takinze interest gye tulinayo nti twali takinze advantage ne tu benchmarkinga Abakongo nga respondinzemu saawuliddeyo nti waali badde ababufuzi gwe bayita Bobi Wine Besigye Juko Mazinga eyabaduumi nti bannaye nti musitwala bo beekoze mulimu bantu baalo tetunabayo nti y'omunabyabufuzi kulembedde. If all of us can benchmark this we will be very far and it will be very great. Tujja kuba tusobola okukola kubanga omulimu gwe baakoze Congo is now weak. Basanga omunnalwanda babakwatidde n'ejjambiya waliwo omwana mpereryo nga ejjudde ejjambiya n'emmotoka baziyimiriza singa ekyo kimakinga ne ku nsonga kyekirimu kikulu nnyo nti tulaba tulabye kubanga nabo bantu nga ffe tulinda ne tugamba nti gundi ajja kuduumira gundi ajja kukola bw'ati. I think it's something of weak minds oba koze emibiri tumanyi naye mu bwongo olowooza tetukwata bulungi otherwise twali pikinze ekintu ekyo Abakongo tebakoze omunnalwanda naffe ne tugenda mu Uganda omunnalwanda tayi naye ewaffe mu nseko nakunyumya biboozi otherwise it will be prudent to benchmarking what the Congolese and what they are doing in response to their against Kagame and Rwandese. Thank you.
Webali nnyo webalire ddala Bannayuganda ffe omanyi bagaa nti eby'omunafu ow'amaanyi yaalya n'eby'omusiru omugezi yaalya kakati ffe ze twakayiwayo ez'enguudo poteya twatalaafiya batugobye babeni mugende ate nno okumanya Abakongo bakambuwadde ne pulezidenti babadde bamuliddewo yali mwali mukeera kulaba birango ku Sunday Saturday yali mu target era tetumanyi oba gyali
Yes.
e Congo. Bagambye UN nti tetwagala ene peacekeeper oba muzungu oba muddugavu oba avaawo oba wa tetwagala. This time we are going to sort it by ourselves. Kakati awo opposition yaika bali mu kyalenga bali mu kulonkinga nnyimba bali na conference Netherland bali na naye mukama ebintu byeka bikusesa professor ekyo kyogerako ki?
They opposition tulina drama actors ababaita ba drama actors oba abazanyi bakatemba naye ng'omuzanyi letinga politics of opposition. Banti we did not make a very good critical analysis to differentiate, actually to come up with the results that will us to differentiate real opposition politics and that one that is played in drama. Bali mu drama wa ngabo bazanyo omuzanyo nga omunabyazi ali opposition gweyanyi naye bagudde mu ebisoko byonti bimu babitadde mu nnyimba babitadde mu show babitadde mu kugenda kulaba kuba meya b'ebibuga Cape Town tulabe ku meya we Boston Uganda omuzanyo gwe bazanya tugende tulabe malema tugende tulabe bino ko mu Europe tulabe ko aba human rights twogereyo nayo bakiramu kuyimba drama actually teriyo opposition biwaine ekyo kyo nzoli ne bwanzu kusanga koma nkuga kino kyekituufu si opposition, that is drama. Wabula drama ali mu nkola ya politics banga drama gwe tubadde tusinga okulaba tubadde tusinga okulaba drama owa love stories story waba local drama waba pastor, I mean common things that happen in the politics some good. It has become common in baso omuzanyo wa opposition politics when ya kulira ekizanyo ja kufira mu film eyo anti era nga bomanyi nti film kugifira mu ati kyo nakyo tubawo obudde. Thank you sir.
Bannange abantu bali mu kulonkinga ntalo babali mu bagoberako abantu ababaleetedde ekizibu Museveni ne Kagame ate mmwe muli mu naye mukama
nyini ffenna bwe twali badde tugamba nti ho neeri babazi ne tubagamba n'okubaga nti muyingire so tulina problem
kiri Uganda. Kale awo nno kati tuvuddewo tugenze ku kyatuleese olunaku olwaleero. Abasomesa bakutte wansi ne waggulu. Mugenyi gwe tulina mu studios ye mutuufu ku nsonga eno, yensonga lwaki twagimuterekera n'okutuusa leero tulabe ye kikyagenda ojjogerako. Katusooke tubirabe.
Good afternoon to you, Priscilla, in studio, and our audience of Afternoon News. What I need to confirm to you is that the industrial action by the NATO teachers has officially started today. And when you look at this particular strike, or maybe the industrial action which is ongoing, let me quote their own words. The teachers are saying that the government is discriminating when it comes to enhancement of salaries. Now, when you look at a primary teacher currently in Uganda, a primary teacher is being paid Ugandan shillings 400,000. And yesterday, while reading the budget, the Minister for Finance, that is Honorable Matia Kasaija, didn't confirm enhancing salaries for science teachers for secondary. So these primary teachers are actually saying that they also request the government to increase their salaries. And when you look at the country, you realize that government have had different engagements with different sectors. We didn't see doctors having their industrial strike. We also saw some of the teachers, especially the science teachers for secondary, having their strike. This time we're having the primary teachers. Now back to Jinja City, where I'm currently reporting from. I was able to visit some of the schools. You realize that in most of the schools you can barely cite teachers, and in some of the classes that I went to, most of the classes are empty, and neither are there lessons ongoing. I visited 4 schools, that is Spy Primary School in Jinja City, and I also visited Main Street Primary School. I visited Narambai Primary School. These are government-aided schools within Jinja City. What I need to confirm to you here is that the industrial action is ongoing, and it is mostly affecting these pupils. There are no lessons ongoing. At a time when these pupils are supposed to be in class, you notice that most of them are just playing at the compound, and some of them are packing their items or maybe the bags to go back home since they are not being taught. Now, most of the pupils were willing to speak to NTV on camera pertaining this particular ongoing strike. Some of them are blaming government for failing to enhance the salaries of these teachers, which they say is affecting them. And they also confirmed to me that since morning they have not had any lesson in their classes. Now, when I was also interacting with the head teachers, they also confirmed to me that there are no lessons ongoing in the schools that I visited. Mr. David is the head teacher of Main Street Primary School located in Jinja City. He confirmed to me that since morning they have not had any lesson, and you can really not see any teacher apart from the top administrators who are doing administrative work, like maybe accepting parents who are coming to pay school fees. But when it comes to normal lessons have been paralyzed in most of these schools that I visited. Now, one thing is that one thing that I need to let you know, Priscilla and studio and our audience, is that there's still heated debate between the district and city education authorities and these teachers. When I tried to interact with the city and district education officers, for them to confirm to me that they demand these teachers to be in classes teaching these pupils. But again, UNATO is saying no, we are the main actors here. We can't teach, and you realize that most of these teachers are not in schools. So the debate has still continued, but what I need to confirm to you that the pupils have been affected as far as the industrial action is concerned. Today is the first day. So this is what I can confirm for you from Jinja City pertaining the industrial strike which is ongoing. And one of the things that I intend to do is to speak to the UNATO chairperson to find out how long are they going with this particular strike. But for purposes of time, let me let the room back to you in studio as you continue with NTV at 1 Priscilla. Good afternoon once more.
Wow. Naye bana government naye no tugiyite kikuba si government yeno bano oba bakibanda oba tubayite baki oba babbi. I mean, okusasula omuntu emitwalo 40 bannange emitwalo 40 it's less than £100 a month. Sente ezo agasajja gano ga Kasaija gaani ga Geneti. Essente ezo emitwalo 40 zisobola okukola ewaago olunaku. Sente State House zeekaayanira Geneti ono gy'abeera. Oba gy'abeera oba si gy'abeera situmanyi. Bakozesa according to the budget omwaka buli lunaku bakozesa obuwumbi billions nya olunaku 4 billions obuwumbi 4 naye bawa omusomesa oba baagala omusomesa afune emitwalo 40. kati bonga bwe basoma divide and rule balaba nti kino kiyinza okubaleetera obuzibu kubanga abaabwe tebaliimu mweno kati industry bwe baamala ogitta abaabwe ne babatwala kati basoma mafuta abaabwe be bakola mu nnyonyi abaabwe be bali mu government institutions all government departments all government ministries kakati ne bamanya nti kati ba indigenous Ugandans be bali muki mu education kati ne bagamba nti kati katubaawulemu tumakingeko abamu happy abalanga tebali happy kakati ne bwe baba bano nga beediimi bali basigala basomesa nakolako wano programu eyo mujjukira nagiyita gwe kitatwalidde wuwe nembaga nti batica temugeza ne mugwa mu katego k'abantu bano kamube mu abasayansi bujja ku kyenkya nammwe babage nti kakati twagala ba mathematics munaakola ki mugaane era mukkiriziganyize wamu ne bannammwe nti bannange naffe bwe muba temutuwa oba bannaffe nabo bwe muba temubawa ssente nga ze mutuwa ffenna tusigale ku mitwalo 4 kakati mukoleyo omwezi mwediima lumu ate era mwenene bwe mutuula wansi bajja ku negotiate nga bajja bawa ssente na bano ssente bazirina nammwe zino ze bagaba ba MP abali mu parliament awo waliwo abatalina wadde ka certificate aka baba wadde miliyoni 4 ezo sente omanyi omusomesa miliyoni 4 emyaka gyazikolera mubalebalemu ku mitwalo 8 mudividinge miliyoni 4 muzidividingemu emitwalo 4 mubale ennaku oba emyaka ticha wasobola okukolera ezo sente emiliyoni 4 ze bawadde bano just nga kasiimo just pocket mukwateyo kano nga tezirina we ziri recorded mu bitabo by'eggwanga obwo nno nabo bagattidde wano nga buli obuwumbi 2 mu miliyoni 10 ezo sente zibadde zisobola kusasula basomesa bameka era myaka emeka n'olw'ensonga eyo mwe bantu mmwe abakkiriza mu abasayansi wannaleero gyoli science alina kyagenda okutuyamba mu Uganda oba alina kyatuyambye for the last 10 years mugende mukole naye mmwe abalala temukkiriza kale tulabe bali bwe basomesa math bwe basomesa art bwe basomesa yes mukadde waffe kino nno gwe kikwatirako ddala as an administrator ensonga eno gyogerako ki
I thank you very much once again, Principal Chinkwe. Disregarding of treating teachers or some injustice in the education sector, it's not just the salaries, but it's total disregard and destruction of the entire of education life. Let us first look at in political context before we continue ahead to dissect it in the education text. Place that needed everyone to know in the education sector. We don't have rise who are teachers. Actually, maybe out of 10,000 teachers, you may find 1 or 2, 3 teachers related to run this. So with this, the NRM government or your 7 does not feel anything there because there is no anybody there. They are just only the few who are employed in the education, they are on administrative positions, not in the teaching process. So when the teachers are crying, Museveni does not even feel somebody who is crying because they're strangers to him. These people are put in public administration of districts by RDCs, military, police, and all government corporates like URA, Investment Authority, Uganda Airlines, and so within this area of education, Museveni sees only strangers. I think like animals crying. He doesn't have anybody there. And Museveni is a person that you can say is the worst second kleptocratic that you have ever seen. The man who does not even look at any other person apart from a Rwandese origin only. So I think this is a political answer to this, but it is true. Uganda must have noticed because some areas that money goes, you can even himself. Which science did he study? Because they're talking about teachers, these are arts teachers. Which science did Museveni study himself? And those that in the State House, that actually tantamount for him to get 770 billion per year, close to $6 billion every month. Which side is study? So it is just who is who. Even the salary and the money and the wealth goes on who is who. That is a simple explanation, political terms. The teachers are very much in a peripheral corner that there is no any interest that Museveni has in teachers because they don't even relate with, neither belong to him. So the issue is just clear that he cannot even look at them. Actually, I read certain articles said those who want to go, let them go. I mean, that's it. That is it, including in health. The nurses, 10,000 nurses, you can hardly get Rwandese. Those are the sectors that he cannot mind. If the RDCs wanted to strike, the money will be there tomorrow. If the other people, the money will be there tomorrow. But these two sectors, actually, which are the most important sectors in social services delivery, they are people who relate with him or who belong to Bahima and Rwandese. That's my first point. Now, on the issue of how are we going to treat this in education context, I want to tell the people today that the politics that I sometimes spoke, it's not even 10% of me. I'm more an academician. When you talk of education, that's your areas of concern. So I think I would have loved for all the teachers to listen to as I speak with authority of educational leadership. I may even tell those who are viewing and listening, and most especially the teachers, that today we are going to discuss this issue with the authority or academic authority. Probably you may need to know which authority that I have in me that actually qualify me to discuss this issue academically. I did my first bachelor's at Nkumba University. It was a double major in education with management sciences. Education with management sciences, as in when you do education with arts. Then I continued with the Bachelor Honors in Education. That's Bachelor of Education, BEd Honors in curriculum and instruction. That is actually what happens in class and all what it entails to be in class and what happens in class. Then when I finished that, I did another Bachelor's Honors in Education Management. When I finished that, I continued with the master's MEd in educational leadership and administration. Then I did not stop there. I'm a professor of educational administration with a doctorate of in education, in educational leadership and administration. But not only that, I'm also a professor in public administration, which I did almost the same trend of all of those and 2 masters in public administration and a PhD. Not only that, I'm also a professor in organizational development and leadership. All this knowledge will bring in the government organizations, will bring in public administration, which has completely failed. Now we will concentrate on the educational leadership and administration in Uganda. That one completely failed. Actually, Yoweri Museveni and his national ravaging movement has completely ravaged our education sector. In the first place, there is no way we can say in Uganda we are going to pay a primary teacher this 400,000 and the secondary teacher this maybe 800,000, and in that arrangement, it is unprofessional arrangement to do the salaries of that nature. In any education system, whether you are a teacher, those are doing child development. Actually, we don't have even many who are doing child development. It is the part of it that is completely disregarded. In other civilized societies, those who are you see in nursery teaching and or kindergarten schools are very much considered as the foundations of education, because that child starts at 3 years, 4 years, 5 years before he goes to primary school, has been started by a trained professional teacher in child development. And that person is equally paid like a primary teacher, a secondary teacher. But in Uganda, we pay teachers in abnormal trends or abnormal arrangement. Because what I believe in most education systems, a teacher is paid according to qualification. And for instance, if a kindergarten teacher has got a bachelor degree, it is the same price. If that, they call it grade O in some education systems, because the lower one and the upper one is left with the private sector. But that grade O before grade 1, between nursery and grade 1, there is grade O. It is actually by those who did child development. If you have done BEd in child development, and another one did a BEd in primary education, and another one did a BEd in secondary education. Those are the, those are the specifications or specializations. The system or the Department of Education pays a teacher according to the qualification, not the level of where you're going to teach, because you cannot stand with a secondary level education without primary level education. And specialization does not go with salary. That me, I'm going to specialize on primary education. Another one is going to specialize child development. Another one is going to specialize on sex education. Before we touch on the subjects that you're going to teach, those are critical specializations that this did child development is able to start a young child to reach that child to the primary level of education, and then another one picks that child from the primary level of education and reach that child to the secondary level of education, and that one, that teacher of a secondary level of education, picks that child and teach that child at that level and reach the exit level first education. Actually, for university education, that's where the salary differs. But these three specializations do not differ. They pay because you have a certificate in child development, so your salary is a certificate level. And then we pay you because you have a certificate in primary education. Your salary is for that certificate. Those with the diplomas, we pay them because you have a diploma in development or you have a diploma in primary education. Actually, at secondary level, we don't have any certificate anymore. Then we pay the salary of a primary teacher who has got a diploma level, similar to a secondary teacher who has got a diploma level. Then when you all have bachelor, BEd, Bachelor of Education in Child Development, Bachelor of Education in Primary Education, Bachelor of Education in Secondary Education, we pay the same salary because we are paying the qualification. And actually, even at a university, a Bachelor of Education, whether it's a primary education, it is a secondary education, it's child development, is 4 years. If it's 3 years at Macquarie University, it will be 3 years for child development, it will be 3 years for primary education, it will be 3 years for secondary education. Those are actually the levels of specializing as a teacher. They pay the person's qualification in every field, including in nursing. But let us concentrate on education. Now, when you finish all this and you ask why a primary teacher with a bachelor degree is paid 400,000, with a certificate holder teaching in a primary is also 400,000, with a diploma holder also in primary school taking 400,000. It's actually you find it very different from what educational leadership teaches, because if we need teachers, I mean, I don't know whether the government of this national ravaging movement know even what is the value of education. But before we continue there, I may even need any Ugandan who can come out and say Museveni ever thought for education in this country, apart from getting the budget from the finance, they give to the minister and they share the money. Right now, I think it's now his wife, because the other ministers maybe were disturbing him, because the Department of Education has also to look at the prospective learners. I'm coming on infrastructure. If somebody can come and tell me that Yoweri Museveni found a certain bush in Jinja, in Buganda, in Busoga, Ramoja, in any area, or Acholi, or Lango, or West Nile, and they found that from this point to this school, it is 5 kilometers, and in this school, because we're looking also at the number of learners in a school, distance that the learners travel to the school. So from this point to this point, there is a distance, and this school, it may be actually within the next 3 years full, because now if this school is holding 300 or 500 learners and the classrooms are maybe 12, we need 600. So we are only remaining with 2 classrooms. Let us add up here 4 classrooms because of the population growth. Then we look at the distance also. That all this is in educational leadership. We look at the distance because the learners could not travel from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, reach school when they are completely tired. And you expect that learner to study. They will be dozing in class. So they look at the distance, that from this school to this school, or from this village to the school, we need a school. I want one Ugandan to come out and tell me, from 1986, Museveni is a certain place like this and constructed a school. One school in Uganda. So this is the answer
He
because we're
just
looking at
completed one
industrial
in Tanzania recently.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Instead of building a school, the first school that I've seen Yoweri Museveni building and complete do it in the real school, it's that one that he built in Tanzania and actually opened it last year towards the end of 2021. That's the only school that is seen that Museveni has ever built. In Uganda, Museveni did not have any interest in education. More probably, Museveni and his allies have their children in different schools that maybe of us have not understood where their children study from. Actually, they don't study from these schools where teachers going on industrial action. Some of them are studying abroad. Some of them are studying in international schools, Kabira International School, Rainbow International School. So it is only left to our, people to fall victim of their mismanagement of the education sector. Otherwise, when we finish looking at the bachelor degree payments, I've given you the way they actually cost on the salaries according to the levels. They don't pay the level, we pay the qualification. The one with the certificate is paid at certificate level. Actually, the salary scale follow the qualification levels. But what we may not forget, in education leadership, a teacher is one step ahead. That's the rule. One step ahead, you can teach it. When, for instance,
kampiseewo kano Professor akanna mwanje kato agambye is it mawejje kato agaye Professor Sebo eno sitawa oluzungu luyitiridde bw'oba olwagala nnyo ojja kgenda ku tawa eyo ku Sande bo balesse kakati bali awo batangadde.
I'm sorry. Not actually, mbadde njagala nnyo tunnyonnyole ebintu bino mu luzungu olw'ensonga education actually abantu abasinga obungi tulina abasomesa abali mu Acholi nga bawulira Oluganda, tulina abasomesa abali mu Langwa, West Nile, Karamoja n'ebirala. So mbadde njagala topic yaffe eno abantu bonna ekwate kubanga ngenda kumaliriza nga ngamba nti Abannayuganda ffenna twezinge ku nsonga y'education. That's why I'm trying to diversify, in my point of reasoning, nti buli kimu kitegeere. Abannayuganda ffenna tuyinza okwezinga ku nsonga y'abaki y'abasomesa kubanga omusomesa ekigambo ekiyitibwa omusomesa disregarded and undermined does not only affect teachers. Ngaffe bwe tutunuulira ensonga, and we have looked issue nosanga abasawo nga beediimye abasawo beediimye gogyanjabirwawa naawe wali badde weediima n'obeeyungako kubanga kati bakutte kikukwata. We have disregarded them. The internet industrial action of mind. We did not even say anything to Ruth Acheng, who even just dismissed them. We did not mind. Kati ku nsonga y'abasomesa, we are just looking on. Wenjamalira nga tutuuseeyo mukumala nti buli muntu yenna akwate ejjambiya, akwate ekiso, akwate emiggo, ffenna tustrikinge wamu n'abasomesa. Oba oli awo tuyinza n'okukitwala nti nsonga nkulu kubanga it's just a symptom. I'm trying to really give you the whole foundation of what brought in this problem of industrial action. Actually, industrial action is just a symptom of the fundamental causes that has been accrued by this regime. Mbadde nzija ku kigambo ekyokugamba nti nga tetunaba kutunulira salary. tulina ebintu bingi nnyo awo ku salary ndowooza ke kasembayo subject teachers.
In fact nga tonnagatta katusooke tuwulire bo abasomesa kye baayogedde nga olyoka basalirewo.
Uganda's National Teachers Union, UNATU, has commenced its indefinite strike, as announced earlier this week. The ongoing strike, which is a quest for equality and harmonization of the salary enhancement among teachers of different subjects, support staff and also school administrators across all levels of education, has generated reactions from educationists in the country. News Central's Omolola Ololade tells us more.
Over the years in Africa, the use of incessant strikes has been a major tool by employers to press home their demands against the government. Whether it's the education sector, health, or even the judiciary, one thing seems to be common to all, and that is prioritizing the welfare of everyone who works in these government parastatals. In Uganda, teachers under Uganda National Teachers Union, UNATU, are protesting salary increment for science teachers due to the government's decision to increase the salaries of science teachers without considering their colleagues teaching art and commercial subjects, a development that has elicited reactions from the teachers who describe the decision as discriminatory.
We do teachers think that it is very much political because the teachers cannot serve well in school when one teacher is getting a salary of something like 4 million and the other is getting a salary of something of 1.2 million Uganda shillings.
The government, however, believes otherwise, saying the focus is on all teachers, but only starting with science teachers.
But government has been clear before, and it has said that, yes, this time let's first start with increasing the salaries of science teachers, our science professionals, and later on in the next financial year, we should have another group brought on aboard. Remember that they had come to an agreement with government and decided that this was the way to go. So if they are going against the decisions they took collectively as the National Executive Committee, then that's really wrong, and it endangers our young people in class who are the future of this country.
While the ongoing strike is quite important to the teachers, educationists emphasize its effect on students.
So we think that the effects are going to be bitter to the students, and not only the students but the parents as well, because they are greatly losing. The learners are not studying. Therefore, the syllabi of the different subjects, they are going to be having a backlog in that way. Or else, when the teachers will resume work, they will only just teach in a marathon way, just to complete the syllabus, but not for the learners to understand.
Experts admonish the Ugandan government to go from making empty promises to taking serious action to prioritize employee welfare in order to create better lives for the teachers and a conducive learning environment for students. Omolola Ololade reporting for News Central.
Ebigambo tubiwulidde Professor. Yongerezaako.
Tweyanza nnyo ssebo. Kaakati in this video, before we get back to our analysis, in this video that you brought here, we can notice two major issues. One, the equal treatment on the basis of salaries and welfare, and also the conducive environment for learners and teachers. As I was explaining, but if you look at even those that are there, mulaba Kampala, mu bibuga by'Ejjinja ne Mukane mu bibuga. 79% of schools in Uganda are ramshackled. Actually, they don't even deserve schools, but dilapidated buildings. Some of them, you can look at and say, is this a school? It is something like an old thing that was there and it's on. But in the daytime, you find learners at that dilapidated structure. Some of them are growth-searched and built by man in Uganda. These schools that you see, the real school, I mean, let us say the structures of schools, the real structures of schools are only in towns, urban areas, and cities. In the villages of Uganda, we don't have schools. They're not there, actually. Abasomesa bali kubeera nti balina okubeerawo era nga ajja buzzi nina okusomesa abaana bano ekyo kimu kubanga he was trained to train. Secondly, nina okufuna wakiri egyo emitwalo 40 mwezi guggweko nzifune ate awo wali danger nti somebody ava ewaka okujja ku ssomero amale gafune emitwalo 40. This is actually obnoxious. Nti omuntu ava eka, somebody who was employed in the guise of imparting into our young people ajja for the sake of at the end of the month kamba aleje emitwalo 40 kusomesa kuba tikukyaliwo. Omuntu ajja atuuke awo mu biyumbayumba ebyo abeerewo wandikeko byawa ku lubaawo bamu nabalaba bakwata ne kyoko nti balina amaleko omwezi afuneyo emitwalo 40 okukuba kusomesa era abaana mu basoma. That's a very big problem. Nti abasomesa baba tebasomesa wabula bajja buzzi kubeerawo omwezi bwe gunaggwako ajja kufuna emitwalo 40 oba miliyoni 1 asurviving. That's a very big point also to make. So ekyo twalibadde tutunulira nti injustice against it is injustice against our young children done deliberately by the government. It is injustice done to the teachers, done deliberately by the government of the national ravaging movement. Actually, there is social justice in education. If really the government did not have anybody who finished a diploma in education and the department of education, they may not have understood that there is social justice in education. There is social justice in healthcare. There is social justice in public administration, which in its view says social justice is the view that everyone deserves equal economic, social rights or opportunities. Everyone deserves equal economic rights, meaning salaries, opportunities. This also entails that if I did English and history and I qualified to teach this, and you did also mathematics and physical sciences, we all deserve equal rights. In education does not allow any administrator education sector to look at this one has done biology, so I'll give him this. This one has done English, I'll give him this. That's injustice. Social justification. So it's actually injustice in everywhere, including in the government, including education, including administration. That is injustice, which is openly undertaken by government institutions or by the president himself mentioning it. Actually, me, I don't trust Museveni's education. I did not go to school, but I don't trust education. I don't trust Janet Kataha's education. I don't even trust some of these other ones. I trust Ngo's education with the State Minister for Education. But I don't think that Muyingo can actually do anything. And it's justice assist another idiot who even finish something there. So the problem is the administrators did not go to professionalize their administration. They wouldn't teachers and schools in this manner. But let us go back to where we were before we videos. Actually, badde mbanyonyola nti eno tubadde twagala nnyo bonna bawulire bannange mwenna bamemba bannanga aba UNN abatulaba mbadde njagala tukkirizaganye tubeere nga tusobola communicatinga n'abasoma bonna kubanga kino nno kiyinza otuyamba nti abantu bonna bajja kutegeera kuba I want to put it onto the teachers of subjects nti nabo to take on the injustice that is put by Yoweri Museveni and his government, or to be of those who are doing justice against others. Science. Actually, now Fenne Makerere of Nkumba University, I studied my first degree. I studied in Nkumba University. We're now in Nkumba University. Nga gugenda kusomesa accounting science. Ngenda kusomesa business law and management communication. Emyaka enafenna. Nawe ng'okimanyi enkolera ena naawe okolera ena. Kiki ekikusasuza nga kuzanga. So this is a question to science teachers. They should have stood other teachers. That's why I explained this in holistically that every teacher, whether you're science or arts teacher, must know that you offer and you deserve equal rights and equal treatment and actually equal opportunities in your fraternity. Bwe tubadde twogera ku nsonga ya basomero tusoose ne twogera ku y'abasomesa engeri gye babatambuliramu kati tudde ku subjects. Teriyo kye bayita subject nti this public administration by there is nothing because how can you tell me that mpulira ssebo hello
genda maaso nkuwulira bulungi.
I think tulinga abatalina muntu amanyi kye bakola. They don't know anything. Actually, I rule out that they don't know anything. When in school, in education psychology, there is what they call God's endowment to children. And God's endowment to children stipulates that we have slow learners and gifted learners. That is different from what we're going to here. But have the learners from minor stage, the infant stage, those who go to kindergarten schools. Literacy, because they teach them numeracy at that stage. Numerous. Literacy. Literacy, social sciences, English. Numeracy ng'asobola kuba. N'ekyo tekitegeeza nti ono omwana ono w'amaanyi ennyo kw'ono. By God's endowment to children, his capability is of numbers. And this one's capability is of those social sciences. And the primary school, omwana akola social studies of geography n'oluzungu ng'oli omulala akola okubala ne science ng'ate bino biremerera n'otambula n'ogenda ku high school secondary school the same. Nze bwe mba manyi history, commerce, political education, English, history, nga gwomanyi agriculture, well, chemistry, physics, geography. It does not mean nti gwonsingako kubanga ne bwe tuba tugenda kukola ebibuuzo ne bakuwa olupapula olwange lwenkoze ebibuuzo n'empita naawe ne bampa olulwo nze olulwo nduggwa naawe n'ogwa olwange. So there is no object that's paramount of another. Abasomesa bava mu ffe abasomye. If someone what they have locally called art subject, actually there is no any art subject and there is no science. Everything is a science. They categorized them as a science. History, English is a social science. The social sciences. History is a social. Actually, political science go basomesa. Ye nava mu science. Social science in history is all 70% history, which is also social science. So eventually they are, but let us give them. I mean, to present biology, chemistry, and physical science. This is over natural sciences. Management is management science. Accounting is accounting. Now they are called sciences. Naye ekyondowooza tukireke tubaleke ne category gye balimu nti this is the science. Naye bwe bakola science njagala bawulire ku kino, njagala abasomesa bonna ba science. I want quiz that every testing in scenario could prove whether we pay more than this or we pay this one equally. Every teacher comes with the content. The content is the subject. They need you to have 2 majors and 1 minor. If I have my mix and history and I minor with English, those are my 3 subjects that I'm going to teach in class. You have, let's say, mathematics and chemistry, and maybe physical science or biology is minor. Those are the 3 that you're going to teach. Actually, with all these 4 subjects, they are doing teaching, courses. Those subjects are the contents. Going to that content, you come it from primary school. You develop it at secondary school. You go and train how to at tertiary. If I passed my subjects, economics, history, and English, and you passed your subjects, mathematics, chemistry, and physical sciences, can you do it that I passed? So we can join Singapore. Because we all go with the content that we passed at high school, at university, or college, or colleges of education, or training colleges. Let us find a way to prove this. We get question papers of English and economics. Those are the subjects we're talking about. We are choosing only 3. Test papers. Bring 100 teachers of sciences in one hall. We give them these examinations of those 3 subjects. They call them art subjects. Then let us bring the mathematics and chemistry and biology. We give also those to the arts. Subjects. Then 7 that and the teacher will pass English and economics, and the teachers will fail biology, mathematics, and chemistry. the decision will be from there. Then you are ahead of, let us pay above. Otherwise, if they cannot pass history and they don't pass history, we are the same. That is a small quiz that I wanted to table. We cannot pass it. So what is in this is there is no subject content. If I have my history and you have your chemistry and you think you're better than me, I think I'm better than you. We all have different contents, but we have equal knowledge, levels of knowledge. If bachelor, we have the same level of. If I have my master, you have your master in chemistry, I have my master in economics. We have the same level of knowledge. You have a PhD in chemistry, my PhD in English and history. We have the same level of knowledge. And when we are going to pace, we pace salaries according to the levels of knowledge, the levels of education. With that, the categorization of these subjects, some ambiguity. It is actually, there is some ambiguity because they will tell you this is a science and this is an art subject. But mathematics is given a special arrangement, a special treatment. They categorize it with science. And in a real sense, mathematics also is language. So let us look at the languages and those subjects that they think they are on others. We have English, German, and other languages that are taught, including Luganda, in the schools. Mathematics, which is also another language that they don't even know. But mathematics language, actually, the definition, the rightful definition of mathematics, the language of symbols and numbers. Then it is the language of words and articles and marks. Words, articles, and marks you in English language. Then the symbols, the numbers are used in mathematics language. They are languages. So if English is now in the art subjects and the mathematics in the bracket of science subjects, are we paying the subject or paying the language subject? Because English itself, even the definition says it's a language. And now English is also, that question comes there. Let me also bring in a certain other question. The teacher who taught English is the foundation of all teachers who teach chemistry, who teach biology, who physics, who teach every subject, who teach mathematics. The teacher who made them teach those subjects is one teacher who taught, because after teaching them English, they could bring chemistry English and books in English of chemistry. After learning English, they wrote books of maths in English. After learning English, they wrote the books of biology in English. After learning English, they wrote all the books in English. If supposed to ask on one subject is on top of all other subjects, English is the subject at the top of all other subjects. Actually, English defines it. So when we start to classify all these things, you will find that we are missing the point, because geography is in English, economics is in English, history is in English, is in English, chemistry is in English, biology is in English, physical science is in English, everything in English. Can we pay that teacher in English more than all these teachers who are the subjects that came through the language years untaught? That Museveni to do, if we receive this, must also answer this. Those in the Department of Education to know. Secondly, English language, just a language, is an academic and also the of education. Because in every academic, English has been put in education, mode of communication in education. The teacher who is teaching English, which will be even used not by the learner or the teacher, another teacher, or in a nation. Actually, examination wrote in English. All. Uganda examination, you will find English there. Even a language examines different languages. English there, but let's leave the languages. All other subjects, whether sciences or arts, are taught in English. Why don't we now say English is on top of every subject? Let us pay this. But then we take English and art subject. There is no any subject that is top of another subject. We pay the person who is qualified in that. Because the one who qualified in mathematics qualified in history. Unless if you tell me that a qualified in mathematics or a person to qualify in chemistry, the other subjects are just nothing to him or to her. But if you have your kid qualified in that, cannot do my history, economics, then we have the same knowledge to be paid for. Another level of discussion, we have the fields of specialization in any education. If you know that this subject is paying well, we say, okay, all senior six levers of that have seen that chemistry and physical science are the best paying subjects when you are as a teacher. We did this, and actually we have many students at high school saying hard to see that they can go with their mathematics, physical science, and chemistry to study the bachelor education with these subjects. Within the next 10 years, doing the same, be looking for history teachers. You find them. You will not find historians. You will not find English teachers. You will not find teachers. You will not find subject teachers. I'm to give a full explanation that there is nothing unless when there is justice. But if you now come bias, your injustice, I mean, class actually disregarding other teachers of other subjects, you don't deserve even to be called a parish chief. So you're calling yourself a president of, and others are calling themselves ministers, and others are themselves directors, and they are calling themselves education. What? I'm an education expert. I'm a specialist in education. I'm a consultant in education. I've even my country where and wrote in education. Till I'm going to use a book very soon in 2 months. Total quality education management. I write books. I've written of distance and online learning, such as bargaining to buy it. So I'm giving this information, the teachers and the people of Uganda, with authority as an a special education, education leadership, and expert and education consultant. We science teachers are paid high. Look at the demand and supply. Now, if the demand for teachers is exhibit in policy, our all-level students will run for those subjects. By the time to high school, they will be doing the same. They run for those subjects to become science teachers, because science in education policy, science subjects are now in the education policy that you have to be paid highly, and everybody will be looking for that. Now, within the next period of time, all teachers in Uganda will be science teachers. They are not looking at this. So we find the science, I mean, the history teachers, economics teachers, and other subjects. They're thinking, they're not planning. They don't have a policy. They don't have anything. There was a crisis of science teachers in a very good and administrative manner. We do it at university. We put the policy at university. We put the policy in, training colleges. We policy in tertiary institutions. We reduce the price. If I'm doing my Bachelor of Education, business education, business management sciences, I'm going to economics, business law, those ones are not. But if I'm going to teach history, English, and geography, you put this bachelor at right now, I think the bachelor is 5 million. Then, okay. Let only also need, to look like to look like fools, that science teachers are treated like this and arts teachers are treated like, you just put a program or even an arrangement at tertiary institutions that when you're doing a Bachelor of Science, of education is science education, which is chemistry, geography, chemistry, biology, science. That's Bachelor of Education in Science Education. Normally at 5 million, but this bachelor will be 8 million, the whole of the 3 years or 2 years. Just leave it there. So it will capture a section of people. You keep the points, the entry point, you keep the quality training, keep the qualification in that quality, but use the tuition fees. It will not injure anybody because it's an institution of learning. Those are that no teacher will claim. The students who want to teach arts and subjects, because all study programs are not paid the same tuition fees. So that one will appear professional. But you have actually made a contingent plan for the next 4 years to come. You will produce a considerable number of science teachers because have reduced tuition fees. Even person who would have to do pharmacy, we did mathematics and chemistry, and he wants to do the Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy, or Bachelor of Pharmacy. The people look at did your chemistry and mathematics, but you can do Bachelor of Education in Science Education. They will decide by themselves. You're not showing about payment, salary, or what. No. You are showing them that the tuition fees for this is less. So anybody who passes, because many have passed science, some of them are sitting home without attending to tertiary education. We need the teachers to teach education. But because lower understanding, you don't have that. Instead of saying, okay, how do I attract many graduates to graduate in science education? How are we going to do this? Instead, reduce half price of tuition. You study from 8 to 2.5 for a 5 degree or a 3-year degree, instead of coming and create in the education sector by mistreating teachers. That would be a prudent idea. You do it at tertiary level. On another level of discussion is where we have also looked at interpretations of education. In Uganda, we're about paying salary. Actually, the issue of salary is just a thing. It's just simple. But Uganda's education itself, for understands education, it's not education. It's a market. Like people are selling watermelon, different things, and others are selling watermelon, different things. Selling now, just like people in the market. In terms of quality, the quality dropped, and it has not been okay, but it has completely dropped. The measure in Uganda, there is no yardstick. If somebody told me measure quality in Uganda, I welcome the idea of measure quality education in Uganda. But it's not measured. You'll find that somebody who studied, because I'm sure to the salary, that some teachers in town, they are paid different, and teachers in the villages are paid different price. But when you look at the education itself, has very vehemently taking the trend that James studies biology in Soli, or finishes high school, or a certain level of education in roads or in some other road districts. And this one studies in Kampala, different qualification. The papers will be showing a level of education, but the content in the person will be completely different. What causes this? It is left to the teachers. The department of the government does have it. It is left to us. We do in Uganda's education, Uganda National Examination Board, which ministers examination, basic education. Basic education is primary schools and secondary schools. It's the same body which varies qualifications. Like brighter than with the American universities, you will go to a body which examined you at primary level and high level to verify your university qualifications. You see, we have a problem in Uganda. That body, the UNEB, cannot deal with the quality of education, and with any solid quality of education at basic level. Actually, they left at tertiary level where they have the national IH, which is not quality alone, basically for accreditation. And they into quality, they loaded it onto the same. They don't national authority, which arranges the education level and the content that is taught at that level. We don't have it. We only have books. Introduction to biology. This is only books. We don't have education authority in the Department of Education, which was that for the person to say is in grade 1, you must study this. In March, the 3 months of grade 1, the Department of Education, that the whole country, the learner in grade 1 has got this content in him. It's finished. If you bring an examination of that subject, those topics covered in 3 months, the whole country has covered it. We don't have that. It's supposed to be like that. That when we are going to do a primary level examination, all our learners should have. But some of them go to national examinations, and it's actually the cause of failure when they have covered the text of maybe 6 months, not the 12 syllabus. Or sometimes that learners are doing examination of primary 7 when they have the knowledge of primary 5. We don't have the qualification to arraign what you have even to examine or test the learner in every month is supposed to be designed by the Department of Education. That up to the high school level, just go to do O level or senior, but the schools that they study from have got different content learners that they have covered, but we are looking at them as a level education. So the qualification itself is completely no more. When we go to and is actually even because they do the same examination. National basic education, actually, we can say at least leave it. When we go to tertiary education in Uganda, when you studied in Mukono, you are doing a BCom, and another person is doing a BCom at Makerere, you have the same bachelor degree. You don't have the same knowledge. You don't have the same in you. But we are looking at an out of an accountant, we have a financial scientist, we are looking at an auditor, we are looking at internal auditors, or because we need this accounting science to bring an internal auditor, accounting scientist, financial management accounting. So the other one is doing the same at Macquarie University and Kumba University, another one in Mukono University, another one in University. But because we don't have a qualification authority, every institution is teaching a different curriculum, but with the same subject, Bachelor of Commerce Accounting or Bachelor of Accounting Science. Different universities teaching the same course with the same denominator, with the same designator, Bachelor of Science in Accounting Science, same qualifier. But inside content of that bachelor degree is different. Because we may not look at the time period, how many years you got to finish Okono, and how many do they offer at Macquarie University. The content itself inside, you may finish it in 2 years, we don't mind. We may finish it in 3 years, you may finish it in 5 years. But inside those, different certificates that you've done of the same program. Somebody may do Bachelor of Business Administration, the same thing we did business administration with different content inside. They left it for university. The government doesn't have any hand. So education in our country, actually, we may say it exists on God's sake. It is on chance. I think we have a very big as in our revolution, we are not just fighting to change the these people were talking about the president. There are a lot of things to change. A lot of things that we have to change. In the system of leadership, we have chosen federalism. That one is no more. I even say that we are not going to look at which other things or other ministers or systems of governance that. But I wanted to bring this in the context of federal with education. Actually, I would have to bring it in federalism. Federalism with education, because federal is built on a constitution. They call it constitutional government or constitutional federalism or federal constitution. In a federal constitution, health must be inside, taxation must be inside. Actually, I have a book that everybody read. And we have education, those important issues. So I brought in this, we are looking at it, and the biggest problems are healthy and education in Uganda. When you're doing some research and filing the document, we must be very careful that we don't repeat to have things in Uganda. We have an education system where we don't have a qualification framework. We don't have qualification framework. We don't have that. If I'm accounting at Mukono College of Commerce and another one does it at Makerere Business District, we have different things because we don't have a qualification framework designed by the government. So I find a person who calls himself a president and is saying that, okay, those who are protesting, they continue to protest. You just quickly think that does not even understand exactly what it means to be educated. And all these other factors that I've mentioned are there because the leaders from the president don't know education. If you ask them to define the word education, or if the administration to define education, I don't think they can. Certainly, I don't think Museveni can define education. I don't think Kataha can define education. Maybe Muyingo will help them. Otherwise, they can't. And they're now, from the president, they're the same crops that are managing the country, and they're the same crops that are managing the education sector. So we have a very big problem. I want to summarize that with calling upon the teachers to behave rationally. We cannot continue to follow the trends of manipulative and treacherous politicians like Museveni. I'm going to call up, the way he says, I'm going to pay for the science teachers, and then the arts teachers will be left for some time because they don't understand it. This is where the problem lies in increased prices. If you go in management sciences, you go it in educational leadership, if you go it in public administration, if you go it in economics, they increase percentage, not the subject that somebody teaches. I think this is the last point I want to make. When we're increasing salary, we're in the public sector, in which sector, we're in which department, or what? We increase salary by percentage. If we are going to say, okay, to account, we are increasing. We don't say those who did intelligence will be paid. Those who did artillery will be paid this. No. From this level, we are increasing salary 15%. So you look at your salary. When you don't know the other one's salary, you don't know the other one's salary. You get into your salary and calculate the 15% salary addition. Finished. Similarly, in every field, we cannot say the midwives, we are going to increase salary in the health sector. Okay. We are going to increase nurses' salary. Then those nurses working for what? Those nurses working for children. In the children ward, nursing working in the women, and those doing this, you will end up saying women nurses and differentiate nurses from men nurses or males. You will end up differentiating them by gender. That the female nurses will bring this, the male nurses will be getting this. I mean, when you look at professional way that they handle increment, You will find that even in the education sector, they will say, no, female teachers will be paid this, and then the male to be paid this, because they complete out of reach. They are actually out of, they're not even in the next level or in the third level. I mean, I'm saying they are not anywhere to be seen in as far as education leadership is concerned. They will end up saying, paying, I mean, gender, female or male, increasing salary. We say, you are increasing your salary because you demonstrate. We increase by percent. We say we are going to increase salary the percent. Now everyone declares his percentage or her percentage. But the only thing we can say, okay, second, we are increasing by 28%. Primary, we're increasing by 30% or increasing by 50%. Then on, maybe at least these ones have been too low, and these ones have been at least a little bit okay. Giving this one this percentage, we are giving this unilateral, because that is a very sensitive sector that we cannot just come and continue to battle with them. When you're battling with the teachers, you're battling with the parents, you're battling with the learners. Actually, we cannot a situation where the teachers are undermined and we just leave it to the teachers. What is a problem with the teachers? It is a problem for our children who are learners that the teachers teach. It's a problem to the parents. We are the parents. So it's a problem of the whole country. Actually, I'm suffering with this issue, and people are just looking at him. This is a problem which can even make a revolution. Can use, and we say, okay, you are punishing our teachers, you're punishing our learners, you're punishing us, the parents. So you are punishing the whole country, and we get all together as action. That is my request. Everybody must wake up and join the mass action of the teachers, because they are not punishing teachers, they are not undermining teachers. The injustice on teachers, justice is put on the teachers, on the learners, and the parents. It's actually a holistic injustice on the whole population of Uganda. So we need all of us to get up and join the teachers. Even when it comes to nurses and medical doctors, when they go into mass industrial action or on a strike, they're not doing it themselves alone. What a medical doctor affects the patient and affects the parent of that patient. So it affects all of us together, the whole population. Whenever it happens like this, let us all get on board and in a social cohesive force deal with your M7. Thank you very much. Any occasion, you're most welcome.
All right. Mwebali nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Kale, kati nga tuwumbawumba, mujja kutusonyiwa Professor eddoboozi lye tugenda ku trying so hard okulifixinga litawaana. Kirabika kiri mu saidi yeeyo, naye tugezaako okulaba bwe tusobola okukifixing up next time. Kati nga tuwumbawumba ka mbalage akatambi tuwulire ate yo gavumenti kyeyogera ku nsonga eno.
In Busia town this morning, some learners took to the streets. Others stayed at school unattended. At Busia border and integrated primary schools in the municipality, the learners were sent back home.
came this morning, but there were no teachers in the class.
The teachers have laid down their tools as they demand a salary increment.
Children came to school, but teachers were not there. So therefore, I could not handle all the children, about 2,600 children alone. So I had to release them to go home as we wait the pronouncement between UNATU and the government.
At St. Joseph Primary Chiimbwe in Masaka, the teachers were playing cards. According to Philbert Baguma, UNATU's General Secretary, whereas government claims it has no money to enhance the salaries of arts teachers, it has increased the pay for science teachers, which he calls discriminatory.
When government decides to divide and rule, then we have no choice. Because if you say you don't have the money, and you increase one person by 300%, then the other counterpart, you don't add even a single coin, and you say government does not have money, that means it is a deliberate move to kill the institution.
For teachers with a diploma who are currently receiving 795,000 shillings, they want to be paid 2.7 million shillings per month. Grade 5 teachers want 4.8 million, up from 1,080,000, and grade 3 are asking for 1,350,000 from 560,000. They are being paid monthly. Over the years, governments and teachers have negotiated increased pay, but these efforts have failed to yield any positive outcomes.
We are still open to negotiations, provided we are negotiating to find a solution. The idea of telling us, you see, you go back to school, that does not work.
Just recently, the science teachers called off their strike after government committed to enhance salaries for all scientists in the country. Also, President Museveni has been promoting the importance of science subjects over arts and humanities. Minister of Public Service Muruli Mukasa has called upon UNATU to remain patient and urge teachers to return to class as government implements the pay enhancement plan, subject to availability of resources.
The Honourable First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports has called a meeting with the teachers' union leaders on Friday, the 17th of June 2022, at which a way forward will be agreed.
Education policy consultants think that the increment of salaries of science teachers alone contradicts the government's vision of holistic social transformation.
Not everything is going to be done by scientists. Society has broader needs, social needs, economical needs, physiological needs, and all that.
Chibuka adds that it is unconstitutional.
Article 40, sub-article 1, gives a right to equal payment for equal work done. That's our constitution. Therefore, by government coming up to support or to remunerate science teachers as opposed to the arts teachers and humanities, first and foremost, it is contravening the constitution.
According to Public Service, those that insist on the strike even after negotiations should resign. Education policy consultants say motivation of teachers alone is not enough and there is need to change the teacher training approach. Nobat at Kunda, NTV.
Kale tweyanza nnyo tweyanzeke naye bano gavumenti ya Museveni mululi mukasa oyo naliko naye mu bato emu, that was 209. Oh my goodness. Nakati akyali minister, bamujja wano bamuzza wali, bamujja wano bamuzza wali, by then oba yali minister for what? Oba for presidency? Oba yali minister for Kampala? Naye baali bafunye wa Kampala. I'll cross check. Naye ndowooza ekizibu mukirabye. UNATU ejjuddemu baabwe. Aboogera kugamba buli muntu Ministry of Education yaabwe. Chovulanze sometimes simanyi na lwe nasembayo kulaba amawulire ga Uganda. Naye ekyagantamako kyekyo okuva amawulire lwe gatandise paka lwe gawedde. Buli kitongole kye boogerako avaayo waabwe. yakyogerera buli nokwendiwoni amawanga amalala gute gasoma bwe baleeta civil aviation ayogera katulabe omukulu abaddewo ng'ajja ayogera waabwe nga bajja ku education Minister wa education agambye bw'ati agenda okuvaayo waabwe works ani ate nno ne bwe baba bajjeeyo mwogezi era waabwe ne baba bajjeeyo general secretary era waabwe personal secretary waabwe ne bagenda e Mulago ne bagenda e Makerere naye bw'obagamba wano abaana ndi eggwanga baalitwala teryanye bakugamba ate baalitwala ddi ate mutemumanyi
webale kuweereza Prince Kimbugwe wamu ne Professor Mazinga kyenjija okwogerako leero kiri nti abantu bano abakulembeddemu okwekalakasa kw'abasomesa beetaaga beetegerezebwe bulungi bandibanga si bantu batuufu nga bavandimwe kyova olaba abamu baleetedde gavumenti okugamba nti yakkiriza okusasula abasomesa ba science okubongeza omusaala ate nga tukimanyi nti omukulembeze ne luli yakikolako n'agamba abongezezza naye tebabongeza kuba kati babalaga ekiwandiiko kyonna ekiraga nti omukulembeze yataddeko omukono nti babongeza omusaala nja kumaliza ngamba abantu awo abakulembeddemu okwekalakaasa era n'abakyakulemberamu okwekalakaasa beetaaga beekennenyezebwe abavandimwe bano si bangu tuzze tubalaba bye bakulemberamu okwekalakaasa tutwala ewakyamu bulijjo buli kimu baagala be beesookayo mwetegereze nnyo abasomesa mwetegereze nnyo abo abakulemberamu okwekalakaasa oba bannayuganda oba banyarwanda mubeekennenye gye basibuka ewaabwe kuba abantu bano batuyingira era basindika bannaabwe wabeerawo ekintu kyonna babeeko kye balemesa.
Okay. Omukulu bw'atyo bw'agamba njagala owumbewumbe n'omukulu ono ne vidiyo eno bwana British gye tuva okulaba.
Weebale nnyo ssebo ensonga nga sinakumbawumba na vidiyo kanziremu ku kigambo sister kyayogedde kyaba antu okubanga abakulembedde strike wandimu nno nsulu bonna bazzewa ono omukulembeze we mutamwegendereza abakulembedde bawaamu kye babwadde several times. Sister ina point to make. Bayinza n'okuba nga bakulu abo nga bwe twabalabye bamu nga tebagiriddemu kiti kyakuba nti bawuddise eggwanga no babadde n'obubbanga lyonna basomesa emyaka 3 babadde n'obulumi education sector tefunangayo kyonna tekiriyo funangako kintu kyonna kirungi mu education sector mu Uganda, not even in the health sector. Naye mwekiri nti bayinza okuvaayo ne babakulembera ne baddira miliyoni 3 ne babiwoomu n'abaleka mu bbanga najja n'ababuzaabuza mu ngeri entya kyendaba mu kukyeza bali badde nga si bavandimwe baba bavandimwe beetaaga okugendereza abakulembera strikes ezirina omuzinzi ng'eyo. So ekyo ndowooza abasomesa abanaawulira oba batuwulira era nga banywerera ku nsonga kye kisinga obukulu nti n'oyo abalowooza nti yakulembedde ensonga yammwe tagisazaamu ng'atuuse eri nti aba tugambye bwe bati bwe tuvaayo ng'omusaala guli ku mmeeza nga n'ekiwandiiko kiweka. Ekyo kijja kubayamba. Kakati ku vidiyo eyo nnyini yebaddemu omwami Filibert Baguma akulira UNATO. Mpozi luno lwe nnyinza okuga nti abaddeko n'ayimirira naye nze simwesigangako. Abaddeko n'akaseera naye nze simwesigangako kuba by himself a disappointment teacher. Sabalina union trade ebatwa naye ne waba nsomesa afuna emitwalo ataano nga omusomesa zaafuna omwezi naye nga balina trade union erina n'obukulembeze for the last 36 years. Nze suulirako nti abasomesa babalowoozezaako. Ekyo tekibeerangawoko. Ate wayitangawooko myaka 2 nga tebeekalakaasizza. Babaziza bwe bati ne babaziza bwe bati. Tujja kuba ne basuubira ekibagenda okubatunulamu ne baba ntunuddwamu. Kakati wabaddewo ensonga y'abaana okubanga basomera ne basangawo omusomesa omu abasomesa abamu kwezannyira mata. Nze ndowooza nti n'abagambye abaana obutatawulira ddala. Baddewo olunaku Museveni lwaligamba nti sente ate n'ensonga ey'okuba tugenda kuwaako bano oba bano ebyo byonna biggweewo. Abasayansi nti bo baafunye. Teriyo wa science asomesa ng'alina bachelor degree asinga kuwa history asomesa ng'alina bachelor degree. Bonna ekintu kyekimu kye ba offering era they give the same value of work. Bonna baali badde batuula kito ne bagamba nti bw'abadde okutuwa 3% ate yabawadde nti mu mazima gennyini alabira ddala nti omusomesa yeetaaga. Bonna ezinge percentage bagenda nti bw'oba tozituwadde tetuliiwo. Kubanga tosobola kuŋŋa nti tebalina ssente naye nga yasitudde billion n'agabula abamemba ba parliament abafuna omusaala ogwa miliyoni ezigenda mu n'azisitula n'azigabula abafuna 6 n'okusula kubanga babawazi luli wazimbulira nalire nengattagatta nga abafuna miliyoni 6 naye nga bw'asobola okuba nga ate abongedde miliyoni 4 taddamu okwogera nti tewali ssente. Era nze I need to go to school. Bwe kiba kyetaagisa omwaka gwonna nga abasomesa ba gavumenti bawadde ssente because they have suffered for last 36 years. Abasomesa, that sector has suffered nga tebabafangako. Naye kasita mwennyini yasazeewo nti 300% increase science teachers oba percentage yataddewo gye yasetinze okwenclusinga to the science teachers. Mwena gye muba mwezi kusomero tewabaawo kiwandiiko kitegeeraganya. Emyaka 7 tategeeraganangako nabasa nti twategeeraganya okujjako okulimba nagamba nti tujja kukitunulamu naye ng'ensi ezitegeera abasomesa kintu kikulu nnyo. Eggwanga kwe liyimirira. Minisita gw'oyagala wa finance ayimirirawo kuba nti waaliwo omusomesa. Medical doctor abeerawo nga waliwo omusomesa. Nasa nga waliwo omusomesa. engineer beerawo nga era weewusi ezirina obusente obulisutu naye egezaako okuga nti tuteekemu kasente n'ensi ezirina obusente obutono nga Malawi gezaako okulaba nti bateekamu ku busente ku masomero wadde nga bali bubi nnyo naye n'osanga Uganda nga n'amasomero geerina mabi nnyo n'okusinga ag'e Malawi naye nga Malawi teweza half budget Uganda nga erina ebisomero ebivundu okusinga eby'e Rwanda obusomero naye nga bulungiko ng'ate Rwanda teweza half of GDP of Uganda tegiweza half ya GDP ya Uganda naye basobodde nga basobola okuyimirizaawo ebyenjigiriza ewaabwe Rwanda naye wano ewa Uganda is deliberately done kyogedde mu Sunday nti mu education sector Museveni talinaayo basomesa abasomesa bwe kubanga ku mutwalo kuliko omunnalwanda oba omuhima kubanga kuliko babiri so eyo takiraba tekira talinaayo babiri katana Baganda Abasoga Abakyoli baagala okusomesa abo Banyankole Baganda baalabayo mu kusomesa naye abaawulira ku kaloboozi ka mukulu lwabwe yayogera naga nti abo tujja kubaleka ku mirimu gya slavery ndowooza ne education baagi slavery okuba nti kino tukikwatira wamu si kukirekera basomesa kubanga ensonga ekwata ku musomesa after lana mwana wo abeera affected era mubalabye kati bajja baddayo ate the same affects the parents so ffenna tubanga twekwatira wamu okubanga we support our on their mass thank you.
Sorry, obwedda manyi mumpulira kumbe soogera nammwe. Okay. Kale, tubeebaza mwenna okuva gye mwatandikidde okulaba Shane. Omulangira tukwebaza ssebo olw'ebigambo ebiwoomu ebiti eddoboozi litawaanyiza nnyo abawuliriza baffe naye tubasuubiza nti Monday ejja wenaatuukira tugenda ku making sure nti we fix this. Omulangira nsaba osibule abantu ssebo.
Nsobaza wange muto wange Principal Chimbugwe okuyimirirawo ku lw'eggwanga lyaffe UNNTV iriddewo ku lw'eggwanga lyaffe ate naawe kiwadde obudde I have mu weeks zino ebbiri programs z'obadde okoze nnyingi nnyo naye nga ndowooza osiiba ku research the information n'ekirala nti UNNTV ndowooza erabika eyinza n'okuba nga esinzeeko ne kuze Uganda last 2 weeks nalaba wano renowned professor actually nali mu primary ndowooza nga bamumanyi oba mu high school awo nga bamumanyi Professor Oyega Funadula. I was very much impressed. I was very much inspired. And on the same event, kwaliko omukungu wa government ya Bunyoro. Ekiraga ekintu ekyenjawulo ndabye ba professor bangi kusooka nali ndabye mukulu mukadde waffe Remiges Kintu naye ebidde nti eno TV kati tuseewo ku level yabo ababadde nti TV oba local TV nga busanga ebugerere etuuse ku national level neeyisa n'ezo eziri ku national level yaffe ye Uganda tubanga tusobola okubeera natu abalina information viable abantu abali credible kubanga osobola okubatuusa ne boogera eri ggwanga lyaffe kikulu nnyo nti n'abalabi abalaba UNNTV producing engeri gye baweeramu nti the viewers themselves members of UNNTV nabo yinza okwewa credit yes we are in a very good place nti noli bamuleesera neya kubanga professors aleeta wano si kyangu ate nabo basooka kuwuliriza ne basooka okutunulira ne balaba ekyomugaso n'ebyogererako of national importance. I thank you very much. Abannange baganda bannange mwenna abannayuganda mwenna abali eyo abatulaba mbeebaza okuteekangamu obudde bwammwe very late naye UNNTV ebeerako 24/7 yo 24/7 naye programu ezimu mubeerako ne muziraba very late ekyo nno kya Bwanda ya Nakalamba nti mwagala okumanya kiri na kiri ebifa mu ggwanga n'okuba nti TV yammwe temugireka kubanga when you become a member you become part of it so nkibeebaza nti mutaddeyo omwoyo n'okuba nti mujjumbira okuwuliriza ne mujjumbira okukwata ku balala n'abalala bonna nti UNNTV sasa across buli ku munnayuganda waali ekyo nno kikulu nnyo nti tetwanga kuffe balaba ffekka naye ate mumala ne mubitwala mu balala kisanze awantu wangi nnyo suubira nti waliyo abatunogera ekyo nkibeebaza nnyo kutuwa budde mwebale nnyo kwagala UNN mpozi njagala kusembyayo na abakulu aba Uganda Consultative Council and I'm a member of Federal actually simanyi bwengenda kibagamba naye mpozi Principal Kimbugwa jakidavaloginga bulungi I had a textbook negiwa naye nezimba nnyo actually Anglican administration erimu Federalism and Democracy and Federalism and Constitution nawulira nga mulina engeri gye muteekateeka muli mufumbi